I think the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super had been the closest we have ever got to Dragon Ball Z, especially with Moro, like basically blitzing all the Z fighters, especially with Goku, how he literally just ripped a hole in his chest. It really reminded me of the Raditz fight when it that grim feeling like they have to do everything they can just to stop this guy, and that's what Dragon Ball Super lacked the most, because when you really think about it, what DBZ did right that got me invested. I don't know about you guys, but it got me invested. Is how the tension was there. You don't know what was gonna happen. Even the characters that were relegated to side characters like Piccolo, Tien, Krillin, they were still useful. They still had a purpose. Now, in Dragon Ball Super, well, don't get me wrong, it is a great show, but it doesn't come close to Dragon Ball Z. Like, first of all, Battle Gods, great, but the movie, obviously, I'm not counting the movie returns. The movie returns are whatever. Battle Gods, great. Resurrection F, Vegeta kind of did get shafted a bit, but that's not the reason I'm most mad about it. I'm more mad that they had to rely on the guys to defeat this guy. Because if we were not there, they would have lost easily. Now, Universe vs. 7, it actually feels as though they didn't know what to do with those characters. Because those characters really didn't amount to much, except for Kaba and Hit. Botamo, I guess he's interesting with his ability to nullify damage, but they didn't really do much with that. And Magetta, he's just forgettable, really. He's a cool, funny dad character, but I'd rather have my Arale in there. That Arale always will be my favorite dad character in Dragon Ball. Moving past that, the Future Trunks arc. The Future Trunks arc, I do have a lot of problems because, like I said before, the same problem hits itself again. The reliance of the gods, Zeno, which I understand, but did you really have? It really makes the arc seem like it was for nothing, because you really could just have asked the god just to kill Zamasu at the beginning of the arc, and nobody would have died at all. The future timeline would had not been erased, therefore not forcing Trunks to go into a separate timeline. So it doesn't really add up. And a side note here, it's just as though Piccolo, all the other characters, we haven't seen them doing much. It's mainly been Goku and Vegeta, which that's okay, I guess. But even in Dragon Ball GT, Pan was there and even though Pan is not that interesting, she's still a new different character. Because throughout the whole time, it hasn't really been anyone else different besides Goku and Vegeta. I guess you want to count Trunks, but Trunks is just a weird case considering his form. It doesn't even make sense. The villains of Dragon Ball Super stuff bar, I would easily say is, in terms of story, Goku Black. In terms of abilities, Moro, because Moro has he reminds me of Cell, but Bobbity, like having that many hacks and be able to nullify all that damage. Like, he's a great villain. He's not that interesting because we don't know anything about him, but he's a great villain. And now the tournament power. Okay. I know how people keep saying the tournament power is their favorite arc, which, you kind of have to, because because Dragon Ball Super didn't even have that many arcs, really. Because I doubt most people are going to say the Universe 6 vs. 7 arc is their favorite, because not really much happened there. So either the Future Trunks arc, we had a plethora of problems, or the Tournament of Power had great animation, new transformation, and non-stop fighting, which somewhat reminds you of old school Dragon Ball. But the thing is, though, with the Tournament of Power, I feel like they could have used the characters a lot more better. Like, especially, like, when you have so many new characters introduced at once, you could have made this a way bigger arc than it had to be. Because these characters were interesting. Like, even Ribrianne. Like, I know people hate Ribrianne, but you could have fleshed out her story to make her more likable. Or even, like, Jiren. I find it hard to believe that's the best backstory they could have given us. He wants to get strong because his parents died. Like, how many characters that had that backstory, that had that generic backstory? Because it doesn't really make them interesting. Like, it's not really a unique storyline for his character at all. But, like, it really all been about the Saiyans, and while that's cool, I want to explore the other universes, see what they have to contribute. Because when you have a whole multiverse of the Dragon Ball universe, there is a lot of characters that could be fleshed out, and they can have so many toys that or popularity with the other characters that's not focused only on the Saiyans or the more popular Dragon Ball Z villains like Frieza, Boo, Cell, all the other characters. Because I guarantee you that you could say that they're a little bit hesitant. Toei and the writers are a little bit hesitant to not use Goku as much. But the thing you gotta realize is, even in Dragon Ball Z, Goku was not the main character the whole way through from beginning to end. He wanted the primary focus. You have characters like Vegeta, even Piccolo during that Android 17 fight. Piccolo, Trump, Goten, and hell, even side characters who still made a huge contribution. Say, for example, like Yajirobe. If Yajirobe was not there to cut Vegeta's tail off, they would have had that. They probably would have stood no chance trying to kill them, trying to stop Vegeta from killing all of them, or even destroying the planet at that. And the best we have come close to side characters being really being useful is number one, the case when Master Roshi did that amazing Kamehameha and inspired Goku to push his limits. In the manga, in the anime, and even more so in the manga, which allowed Goku to tap back into Ultra Instinct in the manga. And even in the Mora arc, when all the Z fighters are all over the planet trying to take down more forces. Now, even though the side characters are never going to be as strong as Goku and Vegeta, that's obvious, but they're side characters. They can still be useful. Like, look at Piccolo. He's never going to be strong as Goku and Vegeta, but he can still be used intelligently. Now, I'm not a fanboy who's asking for a specific character to get spotlight. No, I'm asking for more characters in general to get more spotlight. It could be any character, as long as they use them intelligently and in a way where we could really be invested in this character. Because Goku's character arc has been completed a long time ago. Vegeta, you could say that we're still seeing his development, because at the beginning of Z, he was a Saiyan, a space pirate who wanted nothing to control the universe and have immortality, and didn't want anything to do with his son. Being enslaved by Babidi into being a reformed man who cares about his family, who even gets this new evolution blue because of his pride for his race, for Kaba, and even for Bulma and Trunks. He wants to fight for them. So you could say he still has development, but the other characters, they haven't really got characters at all, development at all. Like Kefla, if we saw a backstory of how strong she was before the Tournament of Power even began, I guarantee you a lot of people would have understood or been more fine with her being this strong, or even Broly. Now, granted, I'm not that mad about well, not Broly, Kale. Kale being similar to Broly. I'm not that mad because obviously it's a homage to Broly because they wanted to do a similarity to Broly. But I think if they would have explored the legendary Super Saiyan form and the origin and how it came to be, we find Kale and Broly are way more fascinating on how they're the only kinds of their race so far currently alive. How it's passed on. Is it passed on to generation to generation, or how that thing happened? But moving past that, the more art has been great. It's one of those things you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, cause we all thought that Vegeta was gonna get killed. Like, you could say Vegeta kind of got shafted because he got overconfident, and then and then he just lost as usual. But I can somewhat forget that. Now it's an annoying trope. I mean, I get it happened to him all the time in Dragon Ball Z. But the thing is, I mean, if Vegeta could just get at least one victory, that's all I ask. Because in Dragon Ball Super, he really didn't. I mean, as far as I'm aware, he didn't really kill anyone. Now, granted, defeated Frieza, but he got robbed out of that. Topo, yeah, he did. But regardless, Moro is a fascinating character because we don't know how the ending of this is going to go, because they literally cannot. They can't even lay a finger on this guy. So I'm just hoping it's not one of those things where they're going to have to rely on the gods again for a third time. I find that really hard to believe. They're really going to reuse that trope again, and it would be really annoying because that's way too frequent in too short of a time. Because it hasn't even been that long since Dragon Ball Super. It's only been 5 years, and 5 years is not that long of a time, especially for anime or manga, whichever version you want to go with. But I just hope we could get a proper resolution and climax to the story arc. But we'll just have to see on the next chapter, or whenever Dragon Ball Super decides to come back on the air. But I'll see you guys on the next chapter.